Hello, friends. We are live. I'm going to give it a few seconds. I actually pressed the button a little bit too soon, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with starting like 2 minutes early. So I want to make sure some people get. Oh, I see you guys. It's always so much fun. Like on my end, I can see you guys like roll in. So it's always like my friends are in the virtual room. It's always so exciting to see you virtually. But anyway, good evening, my friends. It is so excited to be with you guys virtually. My name is Haley. I am a bookseller at the Novel Neighbor. We are a women owned and independently operated bookstore in St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm like really excited to hang out with you guys for the next hour. I say that every time because I'm always so excited to hang out with you guys. And before I introduce our authors tonight, I kind of wanted to go over like the plan for the evening. Our authors will join me here in like just a second just to celebrate the release of You Make It Feel Like Christmas, which is very much like Christmas in July vibes, but it's like it's fall, but we're already celebrating Christmas and I'm like here for it. I'm like a Christmas girly. So before we do that, we will have like an audience Q&A at the end of the event. So if you have any questions for both Sophie and Amy, please feel free to drop it in whatever comment section you are watching this on, and then we'll feed them to them at the end of the event towards like the audience Q&A. I feel like that's truly it. I always say that there's a lot, and I'm like, it's a pretty easy schedule of events tonight. They'll talk for a little bit, then you get your questions answered. Like, how much fun is it? But I'm super excited to introduce our authors tonight. Tonight, our author is Sophie Sullivan. She is a Canadian author as well as a cookie-eating, Diet Pepsi drinking Disney enthusiast who loves reading and writing romance in almost equal measure. Also, just by like seeing like Diet Pepsi, have you guys seen the Diet Pepsi live performance by Ben Platt? I am constantly thinking about that, and I saw that and I was like, oh, Diet Pepsi performed live by Ben Platt. Anyway, she writes around her day job as a teacher and spends her spare time with her sweet family watching reruns of Friends. She's had plenty of practice writing Happily Ever Afters as her alter ego, Jodie Holford. And we're super excited. Sophie will be joining conversation tonight with fellow author Amy Lee, who is also like, we love her. We love Amy Lee. So Amy Lee is the international best-selling author of romantic comedies for adults and teens, including Mindy Kaling's book studio selection, Woke Up Like This. Her acclaimed works have been featured in USA Today, Entertainment Weekly, Cosmopolitan, and Elle Canada, and has been longlisted as a CBC Canada Reads finalist. They also have been optioned for film and sold to over a dozen foreign territories. When Amy is not writing, she can be found fangirling over other romance books on Instagram, and her @ is @AmyLeeBooks, eating potato chips with reckless abandon and snuggling with her husband and 2 golden doodles in Ottawa, Canada. So everyone, welcome Sophie and Amy!
Hi.
That was so cute.
Excited. So am I. And you guys are amazing. First of all, Haley, you're adorable. And Amy, oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. International best-selling. I was like, oh my goodness.
I'm embarrassed. I didn't even realize that was going to be in there. So I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
One of us eats cookies. One of us sells internationally. This is good.
Okay. Can I just say though, I noticed that you are like a Diet Pepsi person. I am a Diet Coke person.
But so you know what? They can coexist. And the only reason I know that is because my husband and daughter drink Diet Coke. Even though it's gross, they drink it. But I don't know
you're a divided household. Interesting.
We are. Yeah. I don't know what the Diet Pepsi song is though that Haley mentioned. I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. Wow. I'm in the Coke world. The drink, not the other one. Yeah. I feel like I should need to specify that.
Definitely Diet Pepsi though. I am a huge Diet Pepsi fan. A little too much.
Same, honestly. Yeah. I think my husband makes fun of me because I have like a nightly Diet Coke in the bath because I have 2 young kids. So I'm like, I take my bath time with my Diet Coke where no one can touch me. It's great.
Yep. It's wonderful. Yes, there's nothing wrong with those little rituals, those little things you look forward to all day, right?
Yes. So. But anyway, I'm so excited about your release. Congratulations. Today is the day. It feels like Christmas. Like I read this a couple days ago and I was like, this is really getting me into the Christmas spirit. I'm like
I
an
feel like
early Christmas person, so
I
the
am
moment,
too, but this is a little like really early. And so I was like, are people going to be okay with it? Because,
oh yeah,
last year I released Can't Help Falling in Love and it was so perfect because it was actually fall. But
yes,
people seem not to mind to read about Christmas. So,
yeah.
they're all in.
It's as far as I'm concerned, the moment the leaves begin to fall, like
Yeah.
holiday season is upon
Yeah.
us. I
Yes.
wanted to wear a Christmas sweater, but then I run warm
Oh,
in these
yeah.
events. So I was like, no, we can't do Christmas sweater yet. But anyway, yes, I'm so excited. I loved this book. It made
Thank
me
you.
feel all the warm and fuzzies. And
Thank
and as
you.
Canadians, like love a hockey player.
Yes, it's my first hockey player. I feel like I'm in a special
Yes.
club now because I'm a Canadian romance author who wrote a hockey book.
Yes, it's like the one thing, like in the initiation, you have to eventually write a hockey player.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also written a hockey player, my next one coming out
Okay.
next year. So I feel like I was very excited because I was just like,
Yeah.
yes.
That's a rite of passage, apparently.
It is,
Right.
yes, that's the word I was looking for. No,
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the
Thank you. I
like the
appreciate that.
anxiety rep, the mental health rep, especially like on the male side, and just all like the cute little activities. But anyway, I'm
Thank you.
getting ahead of myself. I will ask
No,
many
I love
questions.
it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to actually be here with you. I'm like, yes, finally.
I know, because we've been talking for so long, and I,
Yeah.
I've had the two kids, so I've been kind
Yeah,
of
you've
like
had to have some
not doing
babies.
as many events, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to get back into it.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So thank you.
Yes, of course. Okay, my first question, just to like start things off, prior to going into the book, is like you've written so many books, many,
Oh,
many, many books under Sophie Sullivan, like in particular the rom-coms, and
yeah.
then like I know that you also have your alter ego doing the cozy mysteries and some romances there
Yeah.
under Jodie Halford, and I'm like, you're also a teacher.
Yeah.
How do you have time to write so many books? Because you write so many. Like, what's the origin but like behind the beginning of your career, and then how do you squeeze in all of this writing?
Well, I've always written. I've written since I was a kid in some fashion or another. And then as I got a little bit older, I would do little things. Like when I went through the teaching program, I would write, when blog posts were really big, and just starting, I would write those. And sometimes I'd write like opinion pieces in the newspaper. And then when my oldest daughter, who is now 22, so it's been a while, when she was 8, I wrote a picture book just because it was fun and I had a kid's book idea. And a friend of mine was going to a workshop in Surrey, it's a huge it's Surrey International Writers Festival. And she's like, oh, she actually knew Diana Gabaldon, and I'm like super
What?
socially anxious. So she's like, just come with me. You can meet her and blah, blah, blah. Right. So we go, and it was the night before, and I did not say a word. I did not speak the entire night, but I sat in the room, and like I said, this was years ago, and I just listened to her and stuff. And I've only read one of the books because they're really big and I get intimidated. But
Yes,
it
fair.
was just really like, she was so regal. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the next day I was supposed to pitch my picture book. And I was like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous because I had no clue. I'd never sat with like an author before like that. And I'd never pitched my books. I knew nothing about publishing. So I sat down with you were allowed to have a pitch session, and then it was called a blue pencil session. You're allowed to sit down with an existing author and let them go over your work. And then you were allowed to choose an agent. This was with your entry fee. And then you could just go talk to the agent. So I sat down with Tanya Lloyd-Kai, who is a Vancouver-based writer, and she was so lovely. She was so kind. She's like, your writing is so good. She was so sweet. So I was like, it was so nice to have that before. And so I went and sat down with Carly Waters, who works at PS Literary. And
She lives in Ottawa.
Yes, she does. Yes. So anyway, she signed me for my picture books. And then because I had no clue what I was doing, and I'm not like impulsive in general, but when I'm doing writing and things like that, which also helps to the, like how many books I have to have it all now, right? Like I have to do everything now. I have to write 12 books and I have to do this. And so I had no clue about the process. So while she's like pitching my book to publishers, I'm like, how about this book? How about this book? How about I wrote this one too? And how about this one? She's like, I'm going to have to let you go. I was like, oh no, I wrecked it. during the time while I was waiting, I'm like, hey, I tried a romance book. She's like, yeah, so I don't think so. I'm gonna let you go. And I was like, oh no. And so from there, I started learning a little more, and I have written a couple children's books. They've never been published, but from there, when I wrote my first like little mini romance, I was like, I love this. And so I just kept going. And my current agent, it's so funny because after Carly, I like the book I sent to her that she's like, no, you're not there. And so I kept working on it, and I sent it to who is my current agent right now, and she's like, she's like, I love the idea of this, and your writing's good. She's like, don't ever email me in blue font again, which I also didn't know is like not cool.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't have known that either.
Right? I thought it stood out. So she's like, no, I'm sorry, but you can pitch to me again. And I hadn't had that before. So I kept writing. And I think I'd written like 3 or 4 books. And I have one called Falling for Home. And I was sure that was the one. And I sent it to Fran. And she's like, you're so close. This isn't it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. And so I sent her one more. And that was it. And she signed me. And I was like, okay. And that was like, oh gosh, 10 years ago almost. So, and I got small publishers and things like that. And then I got in with Entangled, which was like a huge deal for me. I did books with them, and I've definitely I've grown and started doing more, but because I had so many books out, because I have to have them all, I did learn how to operate in the publishing world. Fran she's like, you need to decide what you want and if we're staying together. I'm like, okay, I'll calm down. So I've learned a lot of the things, but I do, when a story's going well, I write quickly, which is really lovely. And people are like, oh, that's so, you write fast. That's so wonderful. But everybody's got their strengths. I have to really dig in edits. Those are hard for me, right? So I can get a first draft out there. That's great. But once somebody's gone over it, it's like, okay, well, this is my part where I have to really tear my hair out. So so I wrote all these books and got a bunch of mini publishers, and then I was done with Entangled, and I was so sad because I was like, okay, I guess this part's done. I'm done writing. Nobody else wants my books. And Fran said, just write something for yourself. So I wrote 10 Rules for Faking It. And she's like, you know what? I know you were just writing this for fun, but I'm going to send it to someone. She did, and Alex C. Helster at St. Martin's absolutely loved it and signed me, and they asked me to pick a pen name so that they could help me kind of stand out. And then I started doing the same thing. Then I'm like, but I have this idea and this idea. So that's why there's so many Sophie books too.
I love that. There's so many things in there that I would love to talk about.
Right, yes.
The biggest
thing for me, journey, and you don't think it is, right? Because you only see the, oh, look, I have another book out.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people, especially aspiring writers and stuff, they often see a lot of stories where it's the person writes their very first book and then they get this big publisher and that's that.
It's going to movie.
Yeah. And it's most of us really struggle. We write many, many books that, get declined, get rejected over the years until we finally, have that big break. I mean, I think, and even then, big break, I say that, but it's not, because there's always, you always have to.
There's always something else, right?
Exactly.
And I always say that it'll be funny because, I've never hit any lists or anything like that. But I always say it'll be funny if I do get that big break, because it'll be overnight sensation, Sophie Sullivan. I'm like, overnight, 25 years. Right? It's so funny, but it is really hard. And I touch on that in all my books. It's just this idea that, why is it so easy for everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. That's all you see is here it is. And I'm
Exactly. Because the overnight successes get a lot of attention and people will talk about it, and people aren't necessarily going to say, I've been, grinding at this for 10 years. So
I've been rejected more times than I can count.
Same. My very first book.
Successful author.
Yeah. Right? My first book that I queried, I think it was 2017-ish, it got 55 rejections or something. It's wild, and it really makes you think, maybe I can't do this, but then
The funny thing is, I don't think that changes. I mean, it hasn't for me. It's like every time I do this, I'm not writing any more books with St. Martin's after 2 more down the line. But I finished my last books with them. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I have to go back on sub and stuff. And I'm like, can I still do this? It's really hard, even when you're established. And sometimes it's a different kind of hard, because then it's like, oh, okay, well, you've written this book and I love that. But what if the vibe's not the same? And what if it's not what I expected of you? Right?
Exactly. So, I totally get that. We could have many combos about that.
Yes. It's a long road for sure, though. I would say one thing I wish I had done is, back when I was still pitching those agents, and I wish I had written down all the things that, like, along the way that I wanted so badly, because I know how lucky I am. I know that I've achieved some of those things, but like you said, now it's just like, okay, what's next? What's my next book? How am I gonna,
Oh, I know, 100%. It's one of those things that you wish that, because you think before you get published, like, all I need to do is get an agent.
That's it.
Then it's all I need to do is get a book on the shelf.
Just one person, yep.
And then the goalposts just keep moving, and it's really tough sometimes to dial back and realize, like, your dreams did come true, and it's
to stand still and be like, I did this.
Yeah. Right? Oh, I know.
Funny how similar we all are, and then we're all sitting behind our computers going, but she got one. Like,
yeah. Oh, I know. Okay, let's talk about the book.
Let's talk about the book. I have it.
I'm very excited. So yes, so for people who may not know, I'm sure everybody does know, but like, can you tell us a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about what the book is about, and what kind of tropes people can expect?
Yeah, I definitely think for my tropes, I'm starting to sense a pattern now. A few books in, there's some found family. There's like this. The intense love, right? The not insta love, although they were instantly attracted. There's a one night stand trope in this that you don't actually see. There's a prequel to it, which you don't have to read or anything, but Maisie and Nick actually met 6 months before this book takes place. Yeah. And Maisie, if you don't know, comes from Can't Help Falling in Love. She was the best friend of that heroine. And so 6 months earlier, they met at a mutual friend's wedding and had a one night stand. It was one of those things. And it's so funny because I was like, our books are actually really similar, and we didn't even plan that. Like, it's just weird timing, because yours is like one night stand and then they meet up together, right? So it was like this instant connection that neither of them planned. And then she thought things were going to be okay, and then he left. He was gone, which is what you expect of a one night stand, except that she really thought there was something different. So she doesn't see him for 6 months, and then she's going to see her family for Christmas at her brother-in-law's. He grew up with these people, her brother-in-law's family friends tree farm, and Nick is the brother.
I love it.
So she like shows up and she's like, what? And so he's, he had valid reasons. I was like, when I was writing it, I was like, he needs to be redeemable. Like, what reasons do you have? So he had reasons, but they show up together and they're both like, oh my God, yeah, we know each other. He's a hockey player. His sister owns a tree farm, and they have a week basically to spend together and do Christmassy things. But she's pretty mad at him, and he's pretty sure that he was a big idiot and shouldn't have wrecked this. So they kind of go through that together, and there's lots of fun stuff on the way. But there's some, there's mental health challenges and things they face. So
yeah, I loved how, like, at first glance, you would think, like, okay, hockey player, of course he was going to do that. Of course he was just going to ditch and ghost. Yeah. But then he has so much to him, and he's like a secret softie. And I really, really, really loved that. And
thank you.
Just the premise of, that awkward, like, first hookup, and then they got to meet each other by accident later on. I love that. The awkwardness is just really, really fun to write and to read.
Thank you. And it's really awkward for Maisie because her family is like, these amazing, incredible people. And she's like, there's my one night stand, right? Yeah. And they're happily married and have doctorates. And, she's just not.
It's creative. Yeah, exactly. The black sheep, I guess.
Yeah.
And what kind of sparked the initial nugget or idea for writing this one? Like you've written holiday books before, right?
I have, but I've never gotten to write one like I wrote Can't Help Falling, but fall is a season, not necessarily a holiday, right? I'm not a huge Halloween fan, so that wasn't a big draw to me, although I loved writing a fall book and now want to write all fall books. But no, this one was my first like big house. I do write a lot of Christmas romance under my own name, but this was my big one that, from St. Martin's and getting to be part of this series. And I was just so thrilled that they wanted to do, because we had Can't Help Falling in Love. They were like, well, the next season is naturally Christmas. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that sounds great to me. And of course, because, Taylor and Travis are big, I was like, well, I could do like a football player or something, because I was trying to, you want to work with the characters that you have. I love a series, right? And I think most of us do. So, I wrote Maisie cute and quirky in the first book so that people would want to be with her. And I kind of thought that she would end up with Will's best friend, but I was like, no, I want to have something fresh. And so I suggested football, and I have some friends who have been nagging me forever to write hockey romance. I'm like, I don't know anything about hockey. I don't know anything about football either. I know nothing about any sports, but my husband is like a football fanatic. So like I can get him to tell me stuff. So it just felt safer. Plus it was really popular. Yeah. And so I messaged Alex and said, how about this? And she's like, yeah, but make him a hockey player. I was like, okay.
Oh no, I know that.
I even emailed her partway through. I'm like, so I could make him a football player instead. And she's like, no, I think we keep him as a hockey player. I'm like, okay.
Really?
Yep, sounds good.
You would never know. Like
Thank you.
You were very like hockey lingo forward. I mean, I will say too, I also know nothing about hockey, although my husband, he's a massive Leafs fan, like a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And so I am stuck watching like every game. I'm stuck with like the playoff stress and stuff like that. So I pick up things, but I too was like, yes, people just peer review the whole thing.
Yeah, like that. And that when it's around all the time, like you see the hockey, I only see football really. He watches hockey if it's on, but I was like, okay, this will be easier, but no.
So you had to just like, how did you research the hockey aspect of it? Did you watch hockey or did you like ask people?
No, hockey's boring. Sorry. No, I'm just joking. Oh no, I'm like Joey with the Days of Our Lives interview. I don't want to I have a life. Oh no. Now, where's Haley? Haley, pause us. No, I don't watch hockey. I watch sitcoms and the same shows I've watched over and over. I don't actually watch sports. So, but I did. So my big thing because I don't actively understand and know sports, I'm trying really hard with the whole football thing too. I don't understand why they stop so much.
Oh my God. Same. That's my big thing.
I'm like, just go. But I'm trying. So I try to play to my strengths. What I was really, really interested in was the behind the scenes, who they are. And I had watched, and I'm not going to remember the name of it, but I had watched several players on this show, and it was like, I want to say 39 hours or something like that. But it was this show where they take these athletes and they kind of show their day. So this one particular hockey player I watched, he lived in Manhattan Beach, and it was like, he got up with his dog in the morning and things like that. And then he would show different engagements he had and different struggles. And I love that piece, even though wonderful, Nick is still at the heart of him, a brother and a guy and conflicted. And so the hockey piece, that's what he does. And this was like part of the story is it's not who he is. Yeah. And so I focus more on the who he is. And then when I have these few moments where there's actually, it looks like I know what I'm talking about. I watched like Sportsnet clips, things like that. And I asked my husband really goes off on tangents. So like I'll get the whole history of hockey when I'm like, okay, what's a puck? And he's like, okay, well, in 1942, right? So I have to be careful what I ask. But I did that. And then I watched some of those shows and I talked to a few people and I would write something, like there's one part where like one part that I wrote, I won't say it so it's not a spoiler, but not that it's a big spoiler, but and I would read it to my husband. He's like, yeah, that actually sounds like something you would hear. So I check it with people, right? Just to see.
Well,
So
and I think too,
actually know
like,
what they're doing.
and also like the way that you handle, like, you know, his injury and how he like I don't know if that was a spoiler. Oh my gosh.
No.
But and how
Because
he
it's not.
experienced it. I feel like it's pretty common to what most professional athletes would go through in general, right? Regardless of the sport. That's, you know, that's their identity, it seems. And, you know, they obviously go through a lot if they're kind of not taken away from the identity, but, you know, they're benched or whatever. So yeah, no, I thought that was really, really brilliantly done.
Thank you.
I was curious, like, what your approach is, because obviously Macy was an existing character within the series. What's your approach when it comes to like pairing and matching them? Like, I know you wanted to bring, you know, a whole new character, but in terms of like his personality and building who he is, like, how do you do that with the baseline of another character, if that makes sense?
No, it totally makes sense. And she was already kind of defined. And somebody said to me once that the secondary characters are there to show us who the main characters are. And that always really stuck with me, right? So when Maisie was in the first book, it was like she was the lighthearted, easygoing, silly, like I'm gonna, you know, push you towards this thing that you're scared of character. And so it was like, okay, well, is she actually like that herself? So I had to kind of figure out a little, like go a little deeper and figure out who she was. And so once I developed that she was, you know, she was nervous about the fact that she's got real learning struggles. She's dyslexic. She's made a lot of accommodations, which happens. People who struggle with learning are so incredible in the way they adapt. And so she's done that a lot. And so I had to find a way to, you kind of counterbalance it, right? So she's this person who likes to be behind the camera. She likes to be behind the scenes, and she doesn't need the bachelor's degree or the accolades. She just needs to love what she does. And Nick's got similar ideas, but he's in front of the camera and he's a star and he's well known and things like that. So I always try to like bounce them off of each other. It's awkward for Maisie when she goes out and he's known by fans and she's like, okay, I like, this is weird, I'm going to step back, right? And it's a little weird for him when, you know, they're out together and she's like getting the perfect shot through the camera and it's him. He's like, what are you doing? Like, you know, because for her it's really personal, and for him it's like one thing if like a sports magazine is photographing you, but not, you know, your girlfriend. And so just trying to counterbalance those things, but at their core finding the things that are the same.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I think we have a really similar approach, actually, because I always kind of try to think like, you know, the main character in the beginning of the story, what do they need and what might they be missing in their life, and then kind of like develop the second person to match that, right? Or to like be able to give them that. And I always like how you tend to
of them, right? Like to pull that piece of them out.
Exactly. I always find that really fun to like develop their, like, I don't know, their traits and stuff like that in the beginning, and then see where they match up, see where they might clash.
See where they clash, right? And how they complement each other.
Exactly. No, that's super fun. And these two really, really complement each other really well. So
which I love. Thank you.
Readers are really gonna like.
They would on paper, right? And that's something that they give to each other. And with that theme, I think one of the themes that runs throughout my stories is that idea that, I mean, I have really severe anxiety and my daughters have really severe anxiety. And one of the things that comes up, no matter how old you are, is this idea that, am I too much? Right. And you've got like, you know, I always tell my daughters, Elise Myers, like, if you're too much, go find less. Right. But there's a difference between saying it and believing it. And so it's this idea Maisie has that, you know, she's not enough. And Nick's like, this is too much. You can't have all this anxiety. But I love the idea that then maybe you're just with the wrong person, and this person sees in you what it is. You're like, you don't have to change for somebody. You have to be seen in the right way by the right person.
Yes.
And so I love that. I love having people, I love the stories having them come together and being like, you know what, you're the person who sees me that way.
Oh,
Right.
I love that. That makes me want to tear up. It's so romantic. And that kind of leads me to the next question, because I also have anxiety disorder. We're just a
Go
ball of
figure.
anxiety here.
Yeah. Writers.
And so,
Right.
Yeah, right.
Writers.
And it really struck me like how honest and real Nick's struggles were portrayed in the book with anxiety. And I think it's really powerful, especially for a character like him, who's a alpha male professional athlete kind of archetype. I was curious, obviously it's probably a very personal thing, but what made you want to include that kind of aspect into his character?
Thank you. I love that question. I love that. That's what resonated, because it was important to me. And so the first thing that stuck out with Sophie Sullivan was, it was really like, I didn't even mean to be so vulnerable with the anxiety piece, but that was the piece that people are like, thank you, this spoke to me. And so I was like, so every book I've been kind of like, it's there, it's in the undercurrents. But with Nick, I think I was there was a bunch of different things. I spend a lot of time like thinking about things. So I don't watch the sports, but my husband watches all these side shows, which are so sad, but they're so uplifting too. It's like these shows, how he got to there or whatever, and people talk about them and stuff. And I get really fascinated by this, the overlap of things. So this, I don't know if this is too weird, but it's kind of like, so my husband understands sports so much, and he watches these players and they're so hard on themselves. And he was a basketball player himself. He went to college with basketball, and then he hurt himself. And my daughters are 19 and 22. They both played sports, and my husband coaches high school girls. And I hear about it all the time. It's like, this girl, we taped up her ankle and she went back in. And my husband was like, oh, I blew out my knee, but I finished the minutes on the court or whatever, right? Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I have a hangnail, and I'm like, I have to call in sick, right?
You need an ambulance.
Right? But it's a mindset, and it fascinates me, first of all. I'm not sure how healthy it is, but I understand it. And then Travis Kelce was talking about, when everybody thought he was going to retire last year, him and Jason, before he retired, they were talking about how much pain they feel every day. And I'm like, and you get up and do it. Like, getting older is hard. I feel more pain now just like rolling out of bed, right? So it's interesting to me. It's like, I have to push myself to go for a walk, and these people are like getting pounded on the field.
Yeah.
So that piece was fascinating to me. And then at the same time, I've got two very, very high achieving daughters, one who's just finished her bachelor's and is doing her master's, and one who is going into college. And I'm talking like straight A's all the time, wonderful people. I didn't have to parent them. So it's not because of me that they're so amazing. But no matter what they got, it's like, Dean's List all the time. Okay, but I could work harder. And the overlap in that mentality, that I'm exhausted, but I'm going to study. I'm broken, but I'm going to play, was so fascinating to me. And I really wanted to play around with it. The mental health piece is a personal piece. And I felt like it was really important to show that from a man's point of view. And like you said, he is an alpha male. And I talked to a sports psychologist, and I have friends who have played high-level sports, friends who have played for universities in the States, friends who have coached for universities in the States. And so, I talk about that. And other people, there's actual things out there to help people. This idea that who knows what to do when you're 19 years old and you get offered millions of dollars and you go into this, and it's like, you can't say you're hurt. Right. So it was all those things swirling together that made Nick and Nick's story and how he dealt with that. Right.
Yeah. Well, and I also think with athletes in particular, like, they sign up because they love the sport itself, and they don't necessarily want all of the media and like that fame and the pressure and all of that comes with it, which, I think a lot of athletes have a hard time with that, because they're just constantly like, there's just so much pressure, and the fan base is often really hard on them. So
and it's distracting, right? It's voices in
Yeah.
your head. And it's so funny because, again, I love the overlaps. It's like when we write because we love to write. I have more stories, so I'll stop when I don't. But then if I go on social media, I'm like, well, Amy's got a new book and someone else got a book deal. And what, right? You don't expect all those other pieces, or I have to get into Cosmo, or I have to do this. You don't expect those pieces. You just want to write the books.
Yeah.
And that's, that's another overlap where Nick is just like, okay, but I just want to play the game, right? I don't want you speculating on anything. I don't want you bugging my family. I just want to play my game.
Yes, absolutely. No, and that's such an interesting comparison because I think it's true. Like us as authors, a lot of us have that kind of mindset too, where we're constantly striving for more, constantly want more, like we kind of talked about before. And it's a very similar mindset where we want to do the things that like the average person's not going to do so that we can get to that point. And it's just like this cycle. So I think a lot of people, myself included, really related to that. And it was really, really well done.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, especially coming from you. But it is a universal thing, right? This idea is like stop, enjoy, right? And then move forward, right? And I think Nick needed that too. And I think Macy needed that too, which is cool because you wouldn't think she did because she's got this successful business. But she did. She needed to be like, whoa, hold on. Nick's stuff is all over the stats pages, right? What he's done. But she's like, hold on, I've done stuff too. And just stopping and valuing what you've done.
Exactly.
My best friend is going to, like, if she's not watching this, she's going to hear that part somehow. She's going to be like, valuing what you've done, huh? When are you going to? I'm like,
right. I know. We need to like learn the lessons that we're putting into our characters.
I mean, for others.
Yes. Right. One of the other things I really liked too, and kind of about all of your books, but this one in particular was like the large kind of cast, the family within the books that you included. I'm curious, is that something that you really enjoy writing? Is it challenging for you to like add multiple characters in like one scene, or is it something that really comes alive for you when you're writing?
If it goes right, it comes alive, and I love it. I love the vibe of it, and I love when, all those characters, especially when you're like in the third of a series and like everybody's there and you love them. I love that, but it is challenging because it's really hard to, when you're with a bunch of people that you love in real life and everybody's laughing and joking and talking over each other, and that's the vibe I want, but that's really hard to get on the page, right? Without like okay, that needs a dialogue tag and I've got to make sure that somebody moved in the last 4 minutes. And so it is really hard to get it on there, but I love creating that vibe. I hope that I create that vibe. I may have read a couple Goodreads reviews that I shouldn't have that said, get out of your head. All you do is monologue. I was like, oh no, don't do that. Don't go on there.
Right. I know. I also do. So I get it, but we shouldn't.
Like, oh, you hated it. And the worst is when someone says like, I could not do this, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't finish this. And then there's all these comments underneath. Oh girl, good thing. I'm glad you walked away. I'm like, I'm not. What are you doing?
I know.
The hope is there that I create that vibe. But yeah, it's definitely challenging to have a large scale cast. And I have a couple of scenes there where they're, when someone's having dinner, where it's like, okay, how do you get that family, the tension and the fun without being like, okay, you speak, then you speak, then you speak, right? Everybody go around the table.
I know. And well, especially because like generally, like with my books, like I'm usually in one point of view. So I'm like, okay, I get like, they can't necessarily hear everything else that's going on. So it's like, it's a lot of just like an action scene where you need to just choreograph. Like it's like a sex scene almost.
You have to play it out. It's like, could this actually happen? Did you ever follow someone? I think this was when it was on Twitter. Someone who used to do her sex scene. She used to like position her Barbies to make sure it could work. I was like, you're so fascinating. That's hilarious.
Oh my God. I've never even thought of that. But it's probably necessary because it's true. Like sometimes I get copy edits back and it's like, this like isn't physically possible because the hand was here. Now it's suddenly there.
I've had them before. She's like, well, she's sitting on the chair now while they're doing this across the table. I'm like, so she's flexible. What's wrong with that?
Oh my gosh, that's great. Um, so one of the other things that I also loved was like the inclusion of all of the Christmas like activities.
Thank
And
you.
I was curious, like, did you draw on your own personal like traditions and stuff like that? For I guess the realism or the
No,
inspiration.
I think it's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do all of it. I mean some of it. I love to do Christmas things. Like I love to go see the lights even though we've seen them every year. And they have those things like I don't know if they have them in Ontario, but like Glow Vancouver and stuff where everything's lit up inside a tent or outside, and I love doing those things. And I didn't realize till last year, but there's a place called Martini Town in Vancouver, and it is a little section of Fort Langley, and they do a lot of Hallmark movies in Fort Langley, but there's this whole little section. You drive down this long like road and then back. It looks like you're going to like just a random parking area, but they've set it up. It looks like an actual city, and it's where they film a bunch of Hallmark movies. And so like the diners there and the toy shop and the bookstore and the main house and all of these things. So like we went there last year, and I'm like, I could just stay here in this. Like it's just delightful.
I love
Right?
that. I think that's like the magic of Christmas too, is doing, yes, it's the same things. You're making the same cookies, you're driving past the same houses, you're doing the same gingerbread house, but it's like, I always like to think of it as every year, like you're marking kind of that same memory, but also like, because you're doing the same thing, you can then take stock of like what's changed and like how are things different over the years.
Especially as you're watching your kids grow, right? Like
Yeah.
these things you can count on and these things you can go back to. And I really do think people are in better moods around the holidays. I know that it's a really hard time of the year too. And like we're going to struggle a little bit. We lost my mom this year, so we're going to struggle too.
Sorry.
Thank you. But it's also, we have those little things that, not necessarily the ones out of the book, but we will go look at the lights and grab hot chocolate and go do these things, because I think regardless of what else is happening in your life, having those little traditions that you fall back on, that your kids remember, that that you can look forward to, is really comforting and just really soothing.
Yeah, well, the things that like just make life worth it and just and happy. And I was curious too, like, did you draft this during Christmas like last year, or was it just at a totally different season?
No, I think I wrote it in the summer.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I wrote it in the summer. I'm pretty sure that I did. I've written several of my Christmas books in the summer.
Do you need to like listen to holiday music and like watch Christmas movies to get into the vibe, or can you just like
be in a Christmas state of mind at any time?
Okay. Okay. I like that.
No more. Yeah. No. I need no sound. I don't mind the Christmas music if I'm doing, but no, I don't need to. No.
Okay. I feel like if I were to write a Christmas book, I'd need to like line up the holiday movies and just like get in the zone.
I can see that. But no, that when I do it though, it just makes me excited because you make Christmas references and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll do this year. And
yeah. Yes. Oh, and I guess if you've written many Christmas books, like you're already a pro, like what to put in there.
It's such a good time. Romance is so wonderful and Christmas is wonderful. So how do you not combine them, right?
Exactly. It's just so feel good.
Yeah.
I want to be mindful of the time because I want to make sure that audience gets time to move on to questions. But the last thing I wanted to ask was, like, can you tease what book is coming out next?
Oh, yes, I can tell you what book is. Oh, hold on. In this series or next?
I guess both. Both.
Maybe this once. I have this here. So this is the next one. This is the third book in my second series, Love Naturally, Get Lost with You, and maybe this once. So this one is about Grayson and Charlie, who's a newcomer. That comes out in February. I'm excited about that. I'm actually going to be able to go to San Diego this year to the Love Lit Con. So I'm really excited because the book comes out right before it. And then the final book in this series, you can tell we chose song names for it. So the title that they haven't told me they're changing yet, so I'm just going to hope that it stays, is called Meet Me at Midnight. And so it's about Ethan, who is the best friend in the first book, who I thought Maisie would end up with, and actually Will's younger sister from the first book.
Oh, fun. I love that title. It's very romantic and it's like mysterious.
Thank you, Taylor. Right? Thank you for everything, Taylor.
For all of the titles.
All of the things.
All the lines. I know.
Everything. Every feeling I've had for the last, 17 years.
It's true. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're ready for some audience questions.
This was wonderful.
What a great place for me to come in. I love that title so much.
Oh, thank you. I don't think they'll make me change it. They had no issues with it, so.
And listen, there's so many other books out there with Taylor Swift lyrics as their titles. So I mean,
yeah, it totally works, and as you can imagine, it starts on New Year's Eve.
Very New Year's Day of you.
Love it.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. While we're on the Taylor Swift vein, everyone else can wait. I do have like that I'm just like, okay, I think I know the answer to it, but if your book was a Taylor Swift song, what would it be?
Well, it would have to be Christmas Tree Farm.
Yes.
And that's what I was thinking.
Same.
Yeah. That's a very good question.
Thank you. It is my guilty pleasure question. Okay, but now that's out of the way. Our first question is, what are your writing processes like?
Amy, do you want to go first?
Sure. I would say my writing process is chaotic, and it depends on the book. Like, there have been books that I've just completely pantsed, and by pants, it's like an author term for you just write by the seat of your pants. You don't have any plan. You just sit at the keyboard, and whatever comes out, comes out. That was Set on You. I did that for Set on You, and it worked. And then other books since then, like, I've tried to meticulously plan and outline, because I was like, I don't think I like that style. And then there are some that just come really easily. The draft is really easy, and some are just like pulling teeth. So I always have to alter the process depending on whether it's coming easily, whether the characters are speaking to me. Sometimes plot comes first before characters, and sometimes the characters come to me first. So there's no one process for me. It's really up in the air until I'm in it.
Yeah. Well, I'm very similar. There's a lot of chaos with it. I do write cozy mysteries as well, and it's funny because with a cozy, I know I have to plan because things have to be put in a certain way so that there's like red herrings and stuff. So after my first cozy, I figured, well, I'll just plan my romance. I actually cannot do it. So I start my romance with one idea, and I have to have the first line right. It has to sit right with me. And then I open a document. I put a quote there that I feel like, well, that I hope defines the whole thing, which I usually get lucky and it does. I write my first line and I go from there until I can't. And then I go back and reread. I reread every night. So I read what I wrote, make like notes on my phone, go back, fix it, go to the next chapter. So,
wow. I love that.
Stuck, I go back. I'm like, okay, what's happening? And I go back to that question. You said, what does my character need?
Yes.
Right? What do they need? What do they want?
It's like a great internal driving force when you write. I've never heard an author answer it that way. That's so interesting.
Well, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of hoping for the best. So there's a lot.
Amy, whenever you draft, what does your outline look like? What is your draft outline?
Oh God, it's basically scene by scene. Ideally, my ideal scene by scene, and it's usually what is the scene, what's happening in the scene, and then what is the purpose? What is the character, like Sophie said, what is the character wanting? What am I trying to show with the scene? Because I've learned not to have filler scenes, that each scene must serve a purpose and drive the plot forward. But that said,
right?
It's hard and things change, and I switch things around constantly, and this is why I zero draft. I forgot to mention that, and that just means I just type very bare bones. Sometimes it's just dialogue. There's not even dialogue tags. So I go back and I'm like, I don't even know who's saying what, because I just need to lay it out there and then go back and do the magic.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. And it's true, right? But it's so funny. I get so mad when I read a book and I'm like, this is just a filler scene. There was no purpose for this. Yeah. And I always have to have a purpose.
Yes.
Right?
It's very important.
Yeah. So.
No, I truly, whenever you guys talk about the writing process, I'm truly just oh God, could not be me. Okay. Oh, this one is a fun one. So we talked about Hallmark movies. If your book was made into a movie, who would you cast as your main characters?
Oh, wow. The problem with that question is I'm old. So like and it's gonna be like, what would you cast them as, the mom or the right? So like,
I think it's so fair to be like an actor, but like from when he was big in the 90s.
yes. Okay, so let's just have that caveat. It's like from when let's see. You know what? I'm going to do this just because it's like this thing. Patty Murin did the audio for this book, and I just about lost my mind. Well, I actually did lose my mind to my family, but like externally, I kept it together. She DM'd me, and she was like, "I would love to narrate your book," and I was like, emailing St. Martin's. This is my impulsivity. I'm like, I don't care what else happens in my life. Please make this happen. And so I would love to see her in the movie. And then you know what? Her husband's absolutely adorable. So I just feel like they could do the Hallmark movie together. They'd be great.
I love them so much. She
so
was here like 2 summers ago, I think, for we have like one of the biggest outdoor amphitheater theater.
Oh wow.
We have the Muni here. And she was Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
And she also narrated for Catherine Center books.
Yep.
And so they came at the same time, and they were able to like finally meet each other in person. Yeah. And I'm just like, I would die for Patty Murin. I love her.
I will have no chill if I ever get lucky enough to meet her. And the funny thing is, I knew because I love the Chicago shows. And so I remember like when she was on, so my family was like, well, who's Patty Murin? I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. So I was like, I would love that. It was amazing. It's probably one of the most amazing things that has happened to me. So
I think it's so fun that she like reached out to you and she was like, I'm narrating a book.
And so it finally happened. It took weeks and weeks to make it happen because, you know, whatever they do behind the scenes. But I was just like, oh, even now when I message her, she posted about my book today. And I'm like, are you joking me? Like, are you joking? Like, I just love you.
She's like literal perfection.
Like, no, I'm a stalker way, but I'm a big fan.
Like, and like keep her as like a little token. I love her.
Yes. Yes.
If you guys could write. Oh yeah, Amy, who would you cast in your books?
Oh God, I don't know because this is my issue. Ever since my first book, Set on You, that one was like very Chris Evans, 100%. He was Chris Evans. The girl, I'm not sure. But then ever since then, my characters have been just like blur blobs in my mind. Is that weird? Like I don't know.
No, they can all be like. Chris Evans.
Yeah, right. I know that's just my default. Okay. It's always Chris.
Yeah, it's Chris.
That's my answer from now on.
Okay, it's Chris Evans.
Everyone is Chris Evans.
He plays every role.
What's her face doing Fleabag before Fleabag became the movie, and she just did like the whole monologue for everyone. Oh my god, I love that show. Awesome. Okay, this one is also a fun one. If you guys could write in any other genre, what would it be?
Well, cozy mystery. I wrote a second. Yeah, I wrote cozy mysteries, fun, speculative fiction. Not big speculative fiction, but I just wrote one called All the Other Me, and it was like a sliding doors one where she went to see other versions of herself, which was really cool. So she Googled herself. She's this really rich, powerful woman, and she Googled herself, and there were other versions of her in existence right that minute. And so she went to see them. And they didn't recognize her, but she recognized them. So she basically got to see what her life was like. So that was really fun. I would love to try something like that again. I also think I would love to try not hard fantasy, just like a little bit of, whimsical fantasy.
That's fun. I would be sad for that. I love a little fantasy.
Yeah. How about you?
What are your guys' favorite Christmas?
Oh, no, we got to go to Amy too. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Out.
No, that's fine. This is your event.
I'll feel bad about it all night.
No, oh my gosh, this is your event. Thriller, probably something dark and creepy.
That would be fun.
Yes, I have like. Thriller. a secret. I don't know. Maybe aside like romance plot,
Yeah.
but I grew up watching horror movies, so I like creepiness and that kind of
that's
thing.
so
So
funny.
I would like to
It's
try
so
my hand at that.
unexpected.
Yeah, right.
Have you guys seen the new Conjuring movie yet?
No, because I'm too scared to watch it. I can't
will not
watch
watch
super scary anymore. Anything
It's
like
not
ghostly.
as scary as you think, and I need you guys to know that the whole Conjuring franchise is a romance. Like,
What?
if you take out all of like the spooky, scary, haunting stuff, like they rewrote the whole Conjuring series to make sure that Ed and Lorraine had like this really sweeping, happy, romantic life together. And I watched the last movie and confirming it is a romance. We do get an
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, no. I can't handle scary. I can't handle scary.
Side plot of romance.
That's so funny.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's like my Super Bowl. I love the Conjuring movies.
That's awesome.
Okay, this one's also really fun because it's Christmas. What are your guys' favorite Christmas foods?
Foods. Oh my goodness. All of them.
Chocolate.
Cookies. Yeah. All the cookies.
Oh yeah. Shortbread cookies.
Yeah. And I love that stuff people make at the time with all the like, you know, there's like popcorn in it, but all the other stuff too, like, but it tastes like white chocolate is on it. I don't know what it is, but it's yummy. It's like a snack mix or something.
Yeah, there's a
It's
name
got, like,
for
white
it.
chocolate and Chex Mix and all these things. That's really yummy. Now
It is good. Yeah, baked goods for me, for sure.
Yeah, but not just at Christmas.
At all times.
No, I love like a chocolate crinkle. Do you guys like
yes.
those? Yes. But I only limit myself to like making them or having them around Christmas time. Otherwise I would be crazy and just constantly be eating chocolate crinkles throughout the year.
But you'd be so happy.
But they do make me happy. I love those cookies. Okay. This one is also fun. What is the soonest thing a man can do?
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Amy, that sounds like a you question. What could Chris Evans do?
And literally anything. He could breathe in my direction.
Yeah.
And I would be good for life. No, I would say for me, it's probably like in the everyday small things. Like my husband, for example, will like peel my clementines, or he'll kill bugs for me. Things like that. Just little things
that matters.
That just add up every day, that just keep like a long-term relationship alive. Because I think like with romance books, obviously, you know, you're capturing that small sliver in time where they're falling in love initially. And a lot of times it is like kind of the bigger gestures and stuff. But then I always think like, how is this couple like going to keep this going for 50 years? You got to have those like cute everyday little gestures.
Yeah, and those swoon-worthy things, they change over time. Last weekend, I was lucky enough to go on Global News and talk about my books. And I was sick when I went, and I was like, not really, like I did great. It was 4 minutes. I did fine. I didn't say anything terrible. It was a wonderful experience. But when I went and put my purse down, and then we left, and I was so excited, like just over the moon excited. And we got all the way back to Chilliwack, which is about an hour and a bit away. I'm like, where's my purse? And my husband immediately, he's like, okay, I'll go back and get it. Like, no, like, are you joking? You forgot your purse? And I was like, I'll go back. I'm going to take the day off tomorrow. He's like, no, you're not feeling well. Go in the house, lay down. I'll be back in a little bit. Like, and I'm just like, like, right? Like, just, and I was like, and at the moment, that time I was thinking, I'm like, see, that's what those big gestures become, those small moments where it just was
I
wonderful.
love that.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. What advice would you guys give to aspiring authors?
Your eyes went really wide there. It's not what I'd give to aspiring teachers, which is one. I always say the same thing. The thing is, like Amy and I talked about this during the show, but also before. It's hard. It's hard. Like other people, someone who's just an aspiring writer right now would look at me and be like, that's all I want. But every time you get one of those little things, it becomes, okay, well, this is all I want. So just keep going, because that's the only way. Like Amy said something about getting 55 rejection letters. The only way you don't succeed is if you stop, right? You get better at your craft, you keep going, you keep trying, you take that feedback, and you just don't stop.
100%. And I think too, like there's writing and then there's publishing, which is the business side of it, right? And those are two totally separate things that take a long time to understand and tease out. And people will always tell you, you know, the market for XYZ is really hot right now, and the market for this is really cool, like, you know, contemporary rom-coms, for example, and fantasy is now hot, and you need to be able to pivot. And I think at the heart of it, you will always be, if you do that, you're always going to be chasing trends to an extent, and you'll always be behind the trend. And so I think at the heart of it, you have to just write what you love, because that's where your writing is really going to shine. Of course, we all have to pivot a little bit, but finding, you know, that core of a story that you really, really are passionate about, I think is probably what is going to set you up for not necessarily success, but you're going to feel fulfilled in what you're doing if you're writing what you love.
And you're going to do your best work, right? Yes. Like when you write what you love. And the other thing that I think people may not know, I didn't know this till well into my career, is if you want to traditionally publish, the time between writing your book and getting it on a shelf is like 2 years. Yeah. So that's why when you said chasing the trends, like you have to write what you love.
Yes. And sometimes we get lucky and that is the trend. And other times we totally miss.
Yeah.
I know, as like a bookseller, it's so interesting to like see trends happen and like know the back end of the process and how it works. And it's always just like so interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it's fascinating.
It's so fascinating. I love the publishing industry.
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
I like to write.
It's pretty.
The rest is hard.
Okay, but that's all the time we have left, you guys. It's so sad. I wish we could keep going.
I know.
Listen, we're gonna like offline and we're just gonna be like girly pop FaceTime right after this. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you, Sophie and Amy, for coming and celebrating You Make It Feel Like Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. Haley, thank you for taking your time.
Of course. This is where I do like the self-plug for the store. If you haven't purchased your copy yet of You Make It Feel Like Christmas, guess what, baby? We got copies and we know how to use the mail. And if you still order, we do have like pre-order like goodies that come with your book as well. So like you'll have like some fun pre-order goodies if you do purchase them from us.
I just mailed them to you guys. I just mailed you more.
Amazing. We're getting more. So make sure to order that. And then we also have Amy's books available as well. And you can also pre-order Amy's new book, The Bodyguard Affair. And we can also send it out to you. Yes. So if you guys haven't done that, you can check them out at the link below, which is just thenovelneighbor.com, and we will get you all situated. So we hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.